everyone. This is part 2 of my chat with Charlotte. If you were able to listen to part 1, which I hope you have, and if not, pause this one or just stop this one actually and jump back and listen to our first part. We had such a great chat that we just kept going way past the time that we allotted. So we've decided to break it up into a 2-part podcast release. So thanks for tuning in for the second time, I hope. And Charlotte, can you tell them exactly who you are and where you are?
Hi, everyone. I'm Charlotte Wasserman. I am a teenager and founder of It's a Girl's Life, a new nonprofit organization, and I am from the Cleveland area.
All right, everybody, here's our diving into part 2 of our chat. Was it good?
I have like so many questions. So
okay, let's pick another one.
This one's going to be in a different category.
Okay, different category. Switching categories.
I'm really interested in this one. Yeah, I'm just like really interested in this one, and I've been having trouble navigating it, and I feel like other teens could be too. So we are teens with businesses, general statements. Maybe you don't have a business yet. Maybe you're thinking of creating something. Maybe you have a school club. All this kind of applies. You want to make a presence on social media with your business because you know that it's a very good place for other people to meet people and network. But you also want this presence on social media, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, podcasting, website, whatever, to be a professional view of what you're doing, how you do it, what you provide to your consumer, to your like person who's going to be consuming your customer. Mm-hmm. I was just thinking about that in the way of my econ teacher teaches it to us, because I'm taking econ at school and somehow I'm studying econ about consumers and producers, and that was getting in my head. But so you are like obviously showing a product, but you want to make sure that it is professional, because depending on who you sell to, there are different people who are looking at your stuff. You're also a teenager, and you also want to show up authentically online because that's super important. How do you suggest we navigate that?
So let me get I'm going to have some clarity. I need some clarifying questions for you. So is the question around how do you show up professionally and be a teen?
Yes, it is how to professionally show up online as a teenager and network with it in the wanting of networking with other people. Maybe they're teens, maybe they're adults.
Well, I don't think that being professional is it. I think age isn't really a thing around that. I think being professional looks like writing messages, whether it's DMs or emails or things like that, in a professional tone. I think the area that I see teens, some areas of improvement. And again, I don't really fault teens so much for this as that they just aren't learning it. Obviously, it's why I created WIT, was just like helping with these soft skills and these being more professional. Things like writing an email. I mean, I get teens that will write me or DM and they'll be like, "Hey, Sarah, check out my," if people are listening, they can't see Charlotte's face. She's like cringing, but it's true. I get, terrible. "Hey," and then I get all of it in one line. It's not broken down professionally. And it's, "Hey, Sarah, I run a business and I make scrunchies, and I read your article about Sydney and I'd love you to write about me for Forbes." Okay. I mean, that will probably not even respond to that, because it's not a professional approach. Now, do I think that child is intentionally coming across in an unprofessional way? No, not really. But I do believe that my thing is always radical ownership of your life and your experiences. And if you feel like maybe you've heard that people should be professional, but you don't know how, you can Google stuff. You can join organizations like WIT. You can join plenty of other organizations in this world that have youth focused groups on certain things, or you can seek out guidance from other maybe teen businesses or watch what they're doing. There's so much content out there. So in some ways, I do think it's lazy. I mean, it's 100% lazy when adults do it. There's no excuse to me with that. when young people do it, I kind of think, well, maybe they don't know, but at some point you need, if you want to play in the arena of getting press and doing that, then you got to be professional.
Right.
So I also, something else that I've noticed sometimes when, especially with teens that come to WIT with their business, or even when I start searching people, if they've reached out to me about talking about their business and I'll go check out what they have online, I'll notice that they're hiding that they're a teen, that they're trying to come across like an adult. And that's actually, I think, will backfire. There's one person, these two kids in particular that I'm just started to talk with, and I went on their website and there's nothing on there that would make me think that they're teenagers. But there's also no heart and soul on that site because it just looks like a bot site that they just like plugged in things like that. Like it looks like an adult did it, but adult that didn't really even know. It just didn't, I thought, okay, there's a balance of letting people know who you are, and also not pretending to be an adult, and also not leaning too into being so casual and like, whatever, I'm just a kid, I'm just a teen. So I do think that there's an interesting balance,
right,
with how to do that. The teens that I work one-on-one with, I always say, put it in your Instagram bio, teen entrepreneur.
Just did that recently because I was thinking about this question. I've been pondering over it for a while, which after this call I will be researching online, and I wrote that down to look it up. But I was just thinking about, like, I want to tell them that I'm a teenager, that I'm doing this really cool thing, and I think it's important to include that and make it seen that this is like founded by a teenager, and it also provides some context then to whatever you're talking about.
So, huge context. I mean, let's take your business, your nonprofit, it's a girl's life. If they're thinking that you're 25 or 30 years old, that's a weird name. Like, it's like, that's weird. I don't get it. It's like, why is some 30-year-old know what it's like to be a teen girl right now? I mean, I run a teen business and I still don't know what it's like to be a teen. I mean, but I'm somebody who stays curious and listens and gets feedback so we can build things that matter. But I'm more interested in your business because it's a teen talking about teen issues.
Right.
So and I've had teens say to me, I don't want to say that they're not going to take me seriously, or they're going to think that my product's not good. Right. But that's not your people. I mean, those aren't your people. It's like, even this is just like with friendships and business and in romantic relationships, like, they're not your people if they can't handle the truth. They're not your people. And so you trying to be something else is going to be disappointing. Like, let's just play this whole thing out. Like, somebody comes across your site and they're like, oh, I'm assuming she's like 25 years old or 30 years old. And then they reach out and they're writing with you and it doesn't even come about your age. And next thing you know, they're like, okay, so can you fly to New York? And then we're going to have you talk about your thing and like what it's like to be a millennial, or what it's like to be a 20 something. And you're like, I'm 15, I'm 16.
Something has happened to me like that. It wasn't to that extent where someone was going to fly me out, but they were just like talking to me. And then they were like, wait, how old are you by like, and I was like, oh, I think it was at the time 2 years ago. So I was 16. And then they were like confused.
Yeah. So get ahead of it. And it also, I believe very strongly that your age is an asset to the work that you're doing as a teen. I mean,
so cool.
Kylie, who did this, she has this jewelry line. I'm wearing one of her pieces right now. I mean, I wear it actually all the time.
I know who that is from Instagram.
Yes, it's free roaming jewelry.
Right.
I don't want to mistake. I can't remember if she was clear about doing the teen thing or not, like if she wanted it on there or not, but it's on there, I believe. And we talk about how it's actually, the truth is always better, meaning the truth that you are a teen entrepreneur who is running a jewelry line while going to school and you're the captain of your soccer team. That is an interesting story to me. Somebody pretending that and I think she even will tell people, I mean, I do limited releases because I'm balancing my life and my jewelry company. So I don't have, all day to work on my business. And I also on the weekends want to spend time with my friends or whatever it is. We say to even the press that I help her get, that is the truth. And the truth is good and enough. It is enough because it is the truth. And for you to go pretend, oh yeah, I spend all my life building my business and then I go to school and I'm juggling it all so perfectly. No, say that you're not. And you're figuring it out and you're balancing this while you're prepping for your SAT, while you're doing early college admission. I mean, that story is so rich and interesting to me. I can always tell when I am being pitched by a teen who's really their parent is pitching me, because it sounds too perfect and it sounds too adult. I think, when do they watch Netflix? When do they play with their friends? I mean, they're teenagers. Like they're not constantly. And if they are, then that's not healthy. And I don't want to feed into that by acknowledging it or giving press for that. So I can if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. I feel like, oh yeah, I'm sold 1,000. I sell 1,000 bracelets a week. I'd be like, I don't. Okay. I mean, I don't know how you hand make 1,000 bracelets. Like that doesn't sound like, it sounds like you. And
that's so interesting that I really appreciate, like, from a teen's perspective, that you do value that. And I hope a lot more people do, because I mean, I'm someone who I took a turn on how I posted on social media about a year ago and started to post things that were more like vulnerable, quote unquote, because I thought that would be more relatable. And I think that you could even be more intentional about not even just about what you post on social media, but how you respond to people and opportunities, being a teen and knowing that people have also been teens before and they know like what is real from what is just not doable. And I feel like saying that is a really good idea, to express that and to own, like, a WIT tip, own that you are just a teenager trying to balance all these things and also do something that you're really passionate about on the side, or not on the side, but with it too.
And I would even ask you to not even use the word just in there, that you're just a teen. I mean, the power is that you are a teen who is going to school, launching a business, running arts programs after school for kids who don't have access to them, or making bracelets in your bedroom and selling them on Etsy or selling them on your Instagram account. I just think that teens forget, or tweens forget, that that's more than most adults can do. There's so many adults who say they have ideas for businesses and they don't execute. So you've executed an idea. It doesn't matter if it's not a 6-figure business yet or a 7-figure business yet. Like, the skills that a young person will learn in taking an idea from idea to reality to execution are life lessons that you cannot learn in other ways. So that's not to be diminished. It's when the teens start faking it, and I just don't know how to explain it. I can tell when a follower account has been bought. I can tell when there's like, I don't know how to, I can just see it. And so I always look for those accounts that feel real, that are authentic, that are honestly where they are, and talk about the growth that they're hoping to make, or talk about like, gosh, I was like hoping I'd be at 1,000 followers or 100,000 followers by now. And I'm not. I like the real. I like the real. I don't, in a world of so much fake and so much cover up and, Instagram filters, but also life filters and fake business. I mean, I like it. Even yesterday, I think my food for thought on the Do It podcast Instagram, we're doing Friday food for thought, was like, ask for help. I mean, ask for help.
I really like that.
It's brave to ask for help. I mean, this idea that everyone's doing it alone, or the idea that, and this kind of is like full circle about like the issue that we had was, I was like, you need to let people know that you're not doing it alone. Like, it's very important to show that you've built something or you've gotten an experience because people have helped you. In a world where everyone's trying to act like they just got it there themselves, like, oh yeah, I just ended up on the cover of Time by myself, or on the cover of, Vogue by myself. No, there are a lot of things that happen behind the scenes for people to get elevated or in a spotlight. And so it's a really good quality if you thank the people, or you recognize hard work, or you acknowledge sacrifice and hardship, to act like it was just easy and you did it all by yourself, or I mean, I have one girl whose mom is going to probably start helping like package some of their products on the weekend. And I said, well, we're going to tell people that that's how you're able to get some stuff shipped
Right.
out, because your mom's offered to help, or a couple of your friends are going to come over and help. Let's make a reel about that. Let's talk
I
about
would,
that.
no, I would actually, being a teen, I would love to like see people be more real about their experiences, because I think that it shows, as you were saying, it shows that you're a real person and this is not the only thing you're working on. And that is perfectly relatable. I mean, it's so much more relatable that you would show that, like I'm using kind of this as I'm learning as I'm talking, but I would much rather see someone say like, oh, I am so sorry I messed that up. I was also balancing these three things and it was just getting really stressful. And that's why I didn't perform the way that I wanted to, instead of seeing maybe they didn't execute and just not seeing anything. So maybe assumes that, I don't know, they forgot about it or something. It's rather like owning, as I said before, but also just like being true to yourself and what you care about, and making sure that people know that you're willing to put your real self on the line so that you can do something and really create something effective.
I also just want to be very honest with everybody. A lot of my life is not shown on Instagram. And so
Same.
people will sometimes think, and I know because I meet people out in the world, and it's also kind of funny is because they'll call me Miss Wit. That's my Instagram handle. And I'm like, okay, that's cute. I mean, it's Sarah, but, or Miss H, depending on how you're involved with us. But it's just really, it's been really interesting to have people think that they know me, and I'm very private, like my personal life. I mean, if you look on my Instagram account, my personal Instagram account, the things that you'll learn about me are that I have a dog. I love my family. I love my family. I spend time with my family. I like to travel, and I like to go to good restaurants when I travel, or I'm a bit of a foodie. And I'm so grateful. I love this country. I love being a woman entrepreneur in the United States of America. I'm very, very grateful because there's a lot of places in the world where women cannot do what I do. And so I never take it for granted. So there'll be, acknowledgements of that, or gratitude for veterans and things like that. That's probably what, and then I obviously WIT, so WIT teens and, articles about teens, but I'm a lot more than that. And WIT is one part of my life, and my family is part, but it's very intentional. So it's not curated in that there's like, oh, I put stuff out there so that people want to be influenced by me, or I'm trying to get people to want to follow me and aspire to be me, or it's not that. It's like, I keep that account intentionally what I want to share. And sometimes I don't even share my travels until after I come back from them, because I just want to be in the moment. I was on a really cool trip recently, but I didn't want to post about it because there was so much stuff happening. I did feel in the world, and it just felt really out of alignment for me to post about being at this resort and doing this whole thing when there was tragedy happening across the world in Afghanistan. It felt like I don't want to, and that's how I felt. So I don't care if somebody else wanted to post about their, trip during that time, that was in alignment for them, that's fine. But for me, it felt out of alignment. So I pay attention to how I'm feeling when I post. So very long thing to say. I believe you don't have to show all of yourself online to make an impact or to inspire people. You can keep parts of yourself private. And even, I know I'd also say, like, a lot of people that say that they share everything with you are not sharing everything with you. Even that is curated. That vulnerability is often curated, which is kind of like sick and twisted, but that's a whole other podcast. Do you know what I'm talking about, Charlotte? When people
I do know you're talking about. I've seen it before, and then
you just can feel it. Doesn't it kind of feel icky? Like it feels like a little icky.
It feels like they're bragging to you about something that is just not true.
Yeah, it's so funny, and you like watch it, and it's kind of cringy, and you're thinking, I don't even know if you're like really feeling this, or you just think this is going to help sell something, or
it's like reality TV in a way.
Yes.
I don't want to say anything bad about that. For anyone who's watching this, don't cancel me, but some shows I guess I watched that I've seen on reality TV just look they're like scripted, but they're supposed to be reality TV.
They are scripted. I mean, I hope everybody, let's get this up. I hope everybody listening understands that reality shows are scripted. that
Yeah.
there is a whole behind the scenes of what's going to happen or what they're going to talk about or what issue they want to present, because they need to get their ratings up. So
Right.
this is way back in the day, probably before many of you were even born. Reality TV was reality TV. And to be honest, that was like a good era. I mean, but then sponsor deals came in, and then better lighting was an option, and getting your makeup done before the cameras came. But there was a time when it was not like that.
Right. And I could even bring it back to, I was actually listening about this on a different podcast, but they were talking about how people are posting on Instagram. I don't know if you've seen it, but like day in the life of whatever. I've done it too. So I know that this is a mistake and that I've done it, but people post like there's a specific moment in the day in the life videos or like reels that I've seen that they're getting out of bed, and you know that they propped up their phone before they got out of bed to go back into bed to then film that. And you know that they like maybe already had a sip of coffee when they're filling up their coffee cup, but looking like it's their first sip of the day, or like stuff like that, or like rebrushing their teeth. And it's like,
because I see those too, Charlotte, and I think that is not my morning routine. Like my morning routine is not like glamorous. I don't get out of bed with my hair looking good. I don't.
Yeah. Also, yeah.
They're just. I'm with you. But I wonder. Do you think? I think my biggest concern is that there are people who go on Instagram. Well, actually, I think I am one of those people, just in different areas.
I was going to say that I think I know what you're going to say. And I am one of those people who for a while thought that I started to compare myself, because that's a very normal way to approach something you see on Instagram or TikTok, which teens, you can all relate with the TikTok thing, but people only show parts of their life that are the parts that make them look better or make them feel better, or only get them that certain amount of likes. So it's not real, and it's not a good thing to compare yourself against, because even if they're saying this is a real look into their life, it's not. I mean, it's kind of curated to look like it's real, but
it takes a lot of work. Something we all know, because we all have access to the same platforms and the same technology, the phones. Like, it takes a lot of work to put together a story, to put together a reel, to
so much time
to do all of that. And so when people show you their day, I was thinking, I don't get easily swayed by those morning routine things or by body stuff, because I know how images and angles and things can help with like how bodies look in different lighting. But I do appreciate the comparison thing. I will do that. I might do that with my age group around, gosh, it looks like they've got everything with their like husband and their kids, and everything looks so perfect, so I just want to share that to the listener. Like it is something that I think everybody of all ages deals with in just a different way. So while you might see some of the accounts that I see and that I kind of get anxious around or jealous about or comparison about, Charlotte might be like, why the hell do you even care about that? And if Charlotte showed me something, I'd be like, you cannot believe like that. You cannot compare yourself to this thing. This is not even like, and so that just shows you, like, it just is all about where you gotta be careful if you're letting these outside influences just continue to increase your insecurities, or if you're finding yourself feeling more inspired. I think that's always the thing. Am I feeling more insecure? Am I feeling inspired? Insecure, inspired. And if it's leaning insecure, then get off. Just get off. I mean, that's what I've done sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, get off this thing.
Right. No, that's very true. And also just being very aware with yourself that these outside forces can impact you, but you have the choice to be able to choose if they get to you to the extent or whatever extent that it makes you feel a certain way. And I think that you giving them that power is just like kind of rude to yourself in a way, because that's just, it's not worth it if it's not real. And you should be able to realize that this isn't worth me comparing myself to something that's not even like a human thing or real thing. That's what I would just say.
All right. We've talked about professionalism in business, navigating setbacks with adult and with an adult person in the situation, a teen in the situation. So that's I'm imagining is going to be relatable to the people listening. And I hope that people listening do have adults that are willing to play the long game and have the conversations versus just resorting to like a disciplinary action. We've talked about navigating social media, navigating professional presence, and embracing using being a teen to your advantage. Do you have any last question we can touch on real quick before we sign off?
Trying to think of a last short minute question.
Okay.
I would think about what is your favorite platform to use to convey an important message, and how?
You mean like our social media platforms and things like that?
Social media, you can include podcasting and website, I guess, like blogging, if that is.
I don't really read. There's one blog that I read, the 21 Hats Morning Report, which I was just was just featured in this week, which was super exciting because thank you. It was it's interesting. I hope that people experience these moments as an entrepreneur where I could bet $100 that people listening right now are like 21 Hats Morning Report. Like, I don't even know what that is. But if I were to say I was featured in People Magazine, you would all know what that is and think it's super cool. For me, being featured in 21 Hats Morning Report was a really big deal because the man who runs it has kind of turned into a mentor for me. He used to be an editor at Inc. and entrepreneur in Forbes magazines. And he's just done some really cool things in the space of sharing businesses and supporting entrepreneurs. And so it was a really big deal for me when he said, do you want us to feature what you're doing? And you can make a video and hopefully some other people will come in and be guest speakers at WIT. So I just want to say that I hope that everybody will enjoy the successes that feel, or those moments that are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Even if it doesn't necessarily going to get the public accolades that me saying I've done 3 TEDx talks will do. Like me saying I've done 3 TEDx talks will make people go, wow, that's cool. Me saying what I just said to you, most people are like, I don't know what that is, but allow yourself to have your celebrations. That means something to you. Don't be just persuaded that if it's not a name brand moment, that it doesn't matter. So it was very exciting for me. So that's the only newsletter that I read. Sometimes it's Seth. There's a blog that Seth does. Seth, I'm going to pronounce his name wrong, but I'll figure it out in the edits. But I think the best way, it's a good question. I don't really have the answer.
Favorite way?
In my favorite way, I think I'm still trying to figure that out because I'm somebody who truly, and this is anybody who knows me knows this, if I was not running WIT, I would be off all social media channels. I'd be off everything. I'm old enough to have lived life before it. And I know that life can be really, really great and you can meet amazing people and you can have spontaneity and connection and community without it. And so I think when I think about WIT, the best way that we can amplify what we do at WIT, I think will hopefully be through this podcast because it will feel like I can connect with who we want to build this for in a more direct way. But the podcast is very young. We're still starting this and we're growing it. And I do believe that this will be the best way for us in the long run for us to fulfill our mission, which is to amplify teen voices and to get their business ideas and their businesses out into the world so people pay attention. So I think this will be the best way for that. Right. Personally, I don't want any of it. I want to just, but I understand the value that it brings. And I know that I can do more with platforms. Because if you follow my personal Instagram, you'll see like I don't post a whole lot. And I know the answer is consistency and regularity when it comes to building a thing. I know. And I'm just like, dude, I don't want to post.
I feel that sometimes as well, even from a teenager's perspective, just because there's so much out there. And sometimes it can be very draining to go on it all the time to see what's the newest thing. Well, there's a new thing every single minute and it can be overwhelming. And sometimes I just feel like I don't even really want to do the posting just so I could see how many likes and who liked it and then overanalyze who liked it and who commented and then who shared it and who didn't share it. And oh, was this not as impactful just because it got 20 likes? Like whatever
Mhm.
that number can be. And it can be really tiring. But
Or who did they watch my story? Oh my gosh, they watched my story and they didn't comment. Like, why didn't they comment if they watched my
right.
story? Like, yeah, I was just like, what is this?
Yeah. So I don't know how I would navigate it either. But I
Mm,
think it's an interesting thing to think about and
it
definitely
is.
something to bring up to other teenagers to know that it's okay if you feel that way too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's all okay. And there's time. I hope everybody listening and watching understands that there's time. You're very early on your entrepreneur journey. And if anything, you're ahead of the game if you're listening to this, or if you're even navigating launching a business or coming up with ideas. And so patience is key.
Mhm.
Patience and loving the process are just super key. Well, let's let everybody know where they can find you, your business, because I've been really enjoyed chatting with you. And I hope that people watching and listening have enjoyed this. And please share your takeaways. Share if you think we should do more of these things where we just bring in different teens to ask me questions and to get in conversation. We always open to feedback. What's all the things like, comment, subscribe, but let's tell them where they can find you, Charlotte.
You can, well, I wanted to say before I even said any of that, that I really enjoyed this conversation and was really excited about it. And I feel really good about it. So I hope it's helpful for any of the teens that are listening. You can find me at It's a Girl's Life org on Instagram. And then through there, you can tap our link in our bio and find our website and how to get involved, and how to support us from there. So
I
thank
feel
you.
like, is it an S or a Z? I feel like somewhere there's a Z.
The Z's are an old thing from when this all started when I was in 6th grade. There wasn't a domain available at the time with S's. It's supposed to be with S's. My email is with Z's.
Okay. But the Instagram has the
The
S.
Instagram is with the S.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Okay. I just want to, because I feel like I've seen the Z's in place of the S somewhere. And I wanted to make sure we let our audience know where it was. So at It's a Girl's Life. And I know that Charlotte's working on some upcoming events. It's really all around just empowering and inspiring young girls to bring their just most authentic self, whatever that looks like on the day, and to really amplify this concept of being real and how to navigate just being a young person in the world today. So a lot of tools and resources, and she has a podcast, and I think
Coming back.
yeah, so that's coming up. So follow at It's a Girl's Life to stay in touch with her. Obviously, we'd love for you to stay involved with our Do Wit podcast community on Instagram and at doing_wit. You can find me at Miss_wit. Thanks for hanging out with me today, Charlotte. This was really special. And you're the first guest in this format. And I really, really enjoyed it. So
thank you. I enjoyed it too. Thank you so much again. I'm honored.
You're so welcome. All right, everybody, wherever this finds you, I hope it finds you making it a great day. And if you're not having a great day, just know that you're a choice away from that, and that your ideas and you matter. The world does need your unique gifts and talents. And I just hope that you continue to make the choice to do it. Bye, everybody.
Bye.